The Vatican Apostolic Archive, formerly known as the Vatican Secret Archives, is one of the most mysterious and restricted archives in the world. The Vatican owns historical documents and artifacts spanning over 1,000 years, and access is extremely limited. Why does the Vatican keep some of these artifacts secret? Well, the same reason any secret is kept, either because it is valuable, dangerous, or both. Being on the run is not as fun as it looks in the movies. I would know, because that's my life now. As a specialized security system maintenance worker, I had seen it all, or so I thought. My job at the Vatican was supposed to be fairly routine. Just another day ensuring everything ran smoothly beneath the ancient walls. I never imagined this day would turn into a nightmare I'd never forget, or be able to escape from. The underground vaults at the Vatican are legendary for good reason. The tales of secret artifacts and hidden knowledge that have been told through the centuries are true. My task was to ensure the security systems guarding these treasures were flawless. It was a great paying job, and all I had to do was sign some NDAs. I was never threatened into secrecy when I started, mainly because I was technically a contractor and still an outsider at the Vatican. They had their own internal security force to guard their deepest secrets. I just maintained the technology, but they operated it and kept me away from the good stuff. Until one day where I made a decision that changed my life forever. The security system in the most protected and secret part of the archives needed an updated module. I made my way down the dimly lit corridors and my flashlight sliced through the darkness. The ancient stone walls seemed to breathe, and every footstep echoed in a haunting way. The guards escorted me to the control room and let me get to work, updating the systems and checking the feeds. I think their internal security used some kind of partial information system where every person only had a little information at a time to help prevent leaks about the secrets hidden at the Vatican. The guards knew me for years at this point and seemed to trust me. Also, I didn't bring much stuff with me that day, but the new module was going to cause the entire system to go down for a few minutes. I think they assumed I was doing minor maintenance and they left me alone. Everything was going as planned and normal until I noticed something unusual on one of the monitors. Two of the security guards, who usually are very vigilant and stern, were doing something together while standing close. One of them pointed at the camera, and it scared me to be honest, but they seemed to sneak off together to somewhere they wouldn't be seen. It didn't take a genius to figure out what they were up to. I was about to change the modules, and like a light bulb going off in my head, I realized an incredible opportunity was about to be given to me. With the guards distracted and the security systems about to be temporarily down due to my maintenance, I had complete access to some of the greatest secrets on Earth for a short window of time. I had always wondered what lay behind those heavily guarded doors. The temptation was too great to resist. I moved quickly, knowing my window of opportunity was short. The heavy, ornate door to one of the secret vaults creaked open under my careful touch. I stepped inside and my heart was pounding in my chest. I wish I could describe the feeling to you. Can you imagine knowing you are about to see the greatest secrets that are kept on this planet? I stepped inside the secret vault and my jaw actually dropped. The vault was a treasure trove of history. Ancient scrolls and glittering relics and objects that seemed to defy explanation. But one artifact in particular drew me in. It was labeled the Eye of Horus. It was so beautiful and it was intricately designed in a way just unlike anything I had ever seen. It shimmered with an otherworldly light. It was almost calling out to me. I almost felt like I was going to pass out as I looked over it. Even not being a scientist, you could tell it was not of this world. It's not easy to describe with words, but it glowed with an ethereal shine, and it had intricate little parts that were all constantly moving across its surface. It was a shame something so incredible was being kept from the world. Or so I thought in that moment. Against my better judgment, I picked it up. It was surprisingly light, and when I looked through it, my breath caught in my throat. The Eye of Horus wasn't just a relic. It is a window into another realm. A parallel universe filled with horrors beyond imagination. Demons and monsters roam freely. It was a nightmarish landscape. I was staring into another dimension and it was nothing but horrifying. All my worst fears combined into one place. It looked like hell. And then something terrifying happened. As I stared, completely frozen by the horror, they began to notice me. Their cold, piercing eyes locked onto mine, and monstrous hands reached out. Before I could react, they started trying to pull me into their world. The parts of my face they grabbed burned, and it felt like I was being branded. Even worse, I felt an icy grip on my soul. It's the only way I can describe it, and it kept getting stronger with each passing second. It felt like these demons were trying to pull my heart and my soul out of my body, and I could feel it happening. I had to push with all my might against them while trying to pry the Eye of Horus off my eye. Somehow I wrenched myself off the eye and hurled it across the room. It hit the stone floor with a resounding crash, and then the vision disappeared as suddenly as it had appeared. But then the eye started rolling around on the floor, and at that point I had seen enough. I turned around and ran as fast as I could. I fled the vault, but I could hear the echoes of monstrous roars chasing me. I didn't stop until I was out of the underground labyrinth. I could barely breathe. I calmed myself down at the exit, and I managed to somehow leave the Vatican without raising suspicion. It didn't seem like I was stealing, and the guards must have not noticed yet that I had broken into one of the vaults. I got out of there and I knew I had to go into hiding. I knew the Vatican for sure would imprison me and punish me in ways I was not even sure. I mean, come on, I broke into one of their vaults, technically. I knew they would be able to tell I touched the Eye of Horus and saw other secrets. I just knew they were going to come for me. I didn't know how much of a head start I had, so I booked a flight to America immediately. I managed to get on the plane and I flew to America, and after I landed, I went to go get a drink at a bar in the airport. And that's when I saw it. On the news, there was a breaking story that 2 security guards had been found dead at the Vatican, and the news said their bodies had been shot dead, and that a robber had stolen something valuable. I was shocked at this because I knew I had left the Eye of Horus behind, and I knew the truth, they were not shot to death. That's when I figured either the Vatican had the guards killed, or worse, the demons and creatures from that other universe had somehow escaped and killed them. Maybe that's how I was able to escape. The fact that the Vatican was even making the news public made me think the situation might be out of their control. I took a sip of my drink and paid the bartender and exited the airport in an Uber. I knew I had to get out of the airport and away from cities as soon as possible because surely the Vatican was looking for me. I booked an Airbnb cabin in a fairly rural campground, a few hours drive outside New York City. I was able to get into my cabin and I immediately passed out on the bed. I woke up a day later, finally recharged, but still obviously stressed. But that's when everything changed forever. I felt something odd in my pocket. I reached inside and pulled out what it was. Yes, it was in my pocket somehow. The Eye of Horus. As I am writing this note, I can hear it making noises from inside the drawer I shoved it in after I wrapped it in a blanket. It seems as though if I keep it covered, it can't activate. But I'm not sure. Please, someone come save me.